In this video, we're going to create these eyeglasses based on the provided template. We'll begin by bringing in the template, going to Create, Free Image Plane. I'll go to the Attributes, and in the Attributes, I'll click on the little folder, and I'll bring in the template. I hit W on the keyboard, and I'm going to move it a bit to the back, and then up. And then I'm going to go to my front view. And in my front view is where I'll start to introduce those curves that I need. Now I'm going to assign it to its own layer so it doesn't move around while I'm doing the modeling. Once again, going to the attributes with that template selected, I'm going to click on the layer at the far right with the blue ball. And then I'll click twice for restriction. And I'll double click, I'll give it a name, and I'll save it. Now I'll deselect it. Now we'll begin to create the paths that we need to make these shapes. We'll start with the lens first. I'm going to turn off the grid so it's easier to see this. I'm going to go to Create, Curve Tools, and I'm going to choose the Bezier. I'll click once and let go there, then I'll start to make this shape as closely as I can to the template. Now that I have one side of the eyeglass frame, I'm going to duplicate this and flip it over. To do so, I'll go to Edit, Duplicate Special, Options. In the option box, I'll set the x-axis for scale to -1. I'll hit Apply. Now I have a duplicate of the one on the right. I'll delete the history and freeze the transform. I'm going to move it a little bit away from the original. I'll shift select both, and I'll go up to curves, and I'll go to attach, and I'm going to the options for attach. And in the settings, I'll leave them by default and hit apply, and you'll see that it's joined the two together in one spot. Now I'll go to my object mode. And again, I'll go to curves, and this time I'll choose open close. Now at this point I can go and I can adjust these curves the way I want now, or I can do it afterwards. Next we'll make the path that will make the lens. I've turned the template back on, but before I make the lens, I'm going to go over to the outliner. The outliner, if it's not visible on the left-hand side of the interface, would be under Windows and Outliner. And I'll start by selecting the Bezier 2 attached curve, deleting its history. I can now get rid of the original Beziers. Now I'll get my curve tool once again. I'm going to use the Bezier. And I'll try to replicate that template as closely as I can. And then we'll go in and we'll use planar mapping on it. I'll go to curves and click on open close, turn off the template for a moment. I'll center the pivot, freeze the transforms, and because it's already set under Edit Duplicate Special to reflect on the x-axis, I can go back to Edit, Duplicate Special, click on it with the lens path selected. I can hold down Command Shift and hit D on the keyboard, and it will reflect over a mirror image of it. Now I'm going to introduce the Bevel Plus. I'll select the frame first, and then shift select the two lens paths. And then I'll go to Surfaces, Bevel Plus, setting the bevel width and depth to 0. And I'll click Apply. If I were to go to my perspective window now, I would have something like this. And now I'll hit R on the keyboard and I'll adjust the width. Next, I'm going to select one of the lens paths. I'll go to Surfaces, Planar, and I'll choose Polygons, Quad Count. I bumped it to 300 and I'll hit Apply. And because it's black, I'll go to Lighting, Two-Sided Lighting. Now I want it to bend just a little bit forward. So I'll right-click, I'll choose Vertex. I'll select a vertex in the middle. I'll hit B on the keyboard and it's going to take me to the Soft Select. If I were to go to the tool itself on the toolbar and double-click on it, I can go in to the Soft Select settings and I can reduce or increase this number. So all this yellow means it's going to affect the whole thing, and it's basically just going to move. So I'll reduce the number maybe to 3, and I'll keep reducing until I start to see a little bit of black around the perimeter. I'll center the pivot, freeze the transforms, and I'll pull it back into the frame. Going to my top view, I'll hit F on the keyboard, and I'll hit 4 so I can go to the wireframe. And I'll just place this inside the frame, and I'll hit Command D to duplicate, and I'll drag it over to the other side. And then I'll go to my front view, hitting 4 on the keyboard, I'll line it up. I'll hit 5, lighting, two-sided lighting. Going to my perspective view, I should have something like this at the moment. Now I'll create the earpiece. I've got the template on, I'm in my front view. And again, I'll go to Create, Curve Tools. I'll use the Bezier once again. If I make a straight line all the way across here and just click once, it's going to close off with a straight line. If I drag, it gives it a curve that I don't want at this point. I'll hit Return, turn off the template. I'll go to Curves, Open, Close. And now with the curve selected, I'll freeze the transform, center the pivot, and I will go to Surfaces, and I'll click on Bevel Plus. Now all I need to do is put it in position and duplicate it and put one on the other side. I'll delete the history, freeze the transforms, and I'm going to move the pivot to where it would attach to the eyeglass frame. Holding down D on the keyboard, I'll move it into position. Go to my perspective view, I'll change the scale. I'll rotate it on the y-axis. I want to be precise right now, so I'll make it 90 in the y-axis in the channel box. I'll now return to my front view, hitting 4 on the keyboard and W, and I'll move it down into position. Going to my side view to confirm that, and I'll give it a bit of a scaling. I'll go to my top view, hitting A on the keyboard, also in wireframe. I'll hit Command D, and I'll drag the other one over to the other side. Going to my perspective view, should have something like this. Next, we'll do the mouth.